Hello, and welcome to Papa Anthony's Used Game Emporium. I'm Anthony, and in this series by Vala Gaming, I review different games, giving an overview of how they're played, and then we look at the value of what's inside the box and what the price is that you can find it online. So, this game is Codenames Pictures by CGE, and without further ado, let's jump right in. Codenames Pictures comes in a standard telescoping box, and I do want to caveat this is the first edition. The second edition of the game is coming out soon, so this is what you can expect graphics-wise and everything in the first edition of the game. The second edition is coming out with some updated cards in it and a new facelift, new graphics, all that. But we have a little flyer with games and such that you can purchase from Czech Games edition. Toss that to the side. We have the rule book. Rule book here has 11 pages. Goes through everything. Has graphics, explanations, examples of how to play and everything. Then we have the spymasters cards. Here. These are all cards with 5x4 grids in Codenames Pictures that you will set one of these into this little standee, and we'll get into that in a minute, but just give those a shuffle and put them over to the side. We have two packs of picture cards. Give these a little shuffle. Doesn't really matter because we haven't ever played these, but put that here. This gives you a lot of different variation to the game. You do a 5x4 grid and there's all these cards, and they're all double-sided, so you have a lot of different options. And then we have the punch board pieces and some baggies to put all the components in. So the punch board pieces, and they have two different colors, red and blue for each team. These are the agents. And then also an assassin tile and innocent bystanders, which are these gray pieces there. Just punch all of them out. Okay, so get this ready to play. There's one tile that is a double agent that will be used depending on who goes first. That team will have one extra agent that they have to pick. So, move the box to the side over here. There, toss this over here. Then we're going to make a 5x4 grid. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Codenames and how the game is played, Codenames Pictures is played very similarly. You have teams of several people. So it's basically a game for 4 or more people. you are going to have on each team a spymaster and then the operative. The spymaster has access to see the grid. So, and the grid here will actually tell the spymaster where each card, which team it is identified by. So, for example, this is going to be the assassin. This one here is red, innocent bystander, red. And because you're looking at from the perspective of the spymaster here. So the grid is actually this, and the spymaster's objective is to give their teammates clues to get the teammates to guess all of the cards of their color. So for example, if I were the red spymaster, I would be giving clues trying to get the people to pick this owl with a lantern, this poison bottle with a heart on it. This is fairies sitting on like power lines, a Ferris wheel with cherries, the dinosaur kangaroo, a deer with ornaments hanging from the antlers, and this spaceship mobile for like baby mobile. So one of the things that I might be thinking about here is what are different ways I can connect those items. So I could come up with like maybe the fairies have wings, the owl has wings, spaceships fly. Maybe I could talk about flying. So what I would do is I would try to find a way to associate the cards of my colors, and then give that clue to my teammates. So for example, if I said something like fly 3, I am indicating that there are 3 cards on this grid that I am saying associate with the word fly, and I'm trying to get my teammate to pick those cards. So, for example, they could point to like the owl. I can't say anything, but I can then put the correct color card covering that card. So in that case, I would indicate you are correct. You can keep on guessing. And let's say they then pick the fairies, and I would go, yes, that is also red. And then let's say they came over here and clicked this card. This card over here has a flying dragon on it next to a satellite dish. So I would look at the grid and I would go, no, actually that card is blue. And I would give this here. What would happen at that time is the red team's turn would end and it would become the blue team's turn. The blue team would then give a clue based on the card that they have. And so they'd look at this and maybe they'd give a clue like, I know what I want to say, but there's a so let's just say they gave the clue circular 5. Now, if you look at the grid here, you'll see there's a metal here that's circular. There's a ring inside that glass that's circular. The right here, the circle on the birdhouse, the circle on that's like a globe, like within an hourglass. But there's a lot of circles here. This is circular. This is actually a circle. These wheels are circular. That might not be the best clue, but I did say give the clue 5. Now, they could also even look here and say that these meatballs in the spaghetti are circular. So, while not the best clue because it doesn't really hone in, it could be something that would be like more of a Hail Mary or give a number of different options. So let's say they said, okay, we think this. And then immediately I'd be like, oh no, that's red. So then it would become the red team's turn. Now the red team spymaster is going to give a clue, but you can always pick one, the operatives can always pick one additional card to the number that the spymaster says. So right now, the spymaster could be really safe and say dinosaur 1. And then the operatives will, well, obviously that's that. And then the spymaster would put this here. But they could go back to what the previous clue was and say, did we get all of the ones from the previous clue? Did we get all of the fly? And obviously we didn't. We only got 2 of the 3 fly cards. So is there anything else on this board that can fly? Because they can always pick one card higher than the number that the spymaster gives. So because the spymaster gave the clue 1, they can pick 2 different cards. So they could go here and cover up that. Now it comes back to the blue team, and the blue team is well behind the red team right now. So, but the blue team knows that 5 circular things could be theirs. So this is where the spymaster could get a little tricky and say something like, dinner time 0. And what a 0 clue does in Codenames is it tells people not to pick things that are related to the word dinner time. So it's also an infinity type clue, which means that the blue team can pick any number of cards and decide when to stop. So the blue team would deliberate on this and be like, okay, well, these are dolls sitting here having like tea time. So maybe that's because it's like at a table, it's kind of like a dinner table. We don't want to pick that. And then they might go, well, this is like a cake dish or something like with where food would be displayed. We probably don't want to do that. And that's literally food. So let's not pick that one. And then they might go, okay, well, let's start hitting circular things. Well, this metal, then that would be blue. And then they might be like, okay, let's do this one. And that one would also be picked as blue. Then maybe they said the bathtub's wheels, and that's also blue. And then they might pick the puffer fish because that's circular, and that would be blue. And at this time, they'd kind of sit there and be like, well, I don't think I have anything, or they might continue going just to guess one. But the wine glass might be dinner time, so they might not want to pick that. And in this way, teams will go back and forth until all of the cards have been covered for that team's color. Or if a team ever picks the card that has this X on it, the black X, and the assassin comes out, that team immediately loses the game. But that's a quick overview of kind of how Codenames is played. The pictures version utilizes pictures instead of words. So Codenames, regular Codenames, has a grid of 5 by 5 that all have words. And you're giving clues based on a word association. And in Codenames Pictures, you're doing a picture association. So yeah, that's pretty much how the game is played. Now let's go over the price of the game and where you can find it online. Okay, before we jump into the price, let's talk a little bit about why this is called Papa Anthony's Used Game Emporium. And that's because each week we give away the game that I just went over and did the overview and talked about. So if you want to win this copy of Codenames Pictures, go ahead and write down below something about your favorite secret agent. Tell me about your secret agent in the comments below. But like, subscribe, and comment below, and this could be your game. So, now let's talk about the price and the value. Okay, so I'm on Amazon.com right now, and looking here, this is actually an interesting situation. Codenames Pictures is not available right now on Amazon. I know why. It's because it's currently in transit, but Codenames Duet, which is the 2-player version, is available. This is the new version, second edition, like I was talking about. And then the original first edition of Codenames is available. So CG right now is doing a transition from the first edition to the second edition on Amazon. So we'll see those pop up sometime through the holiday season. But right now you can pick up the original Codenames for $19.94 on Amazon, or you can pick up the new version of Codenames Duet for $24.99, which is the MSRP. So then I was like, okay, let's see if we can just jump over onto their website. They do have a pre-order page available at czechgames.com. That's CZECH games.com. So it's not actually available right now, but it will be soon, and it will be, this is what the new version looks like. And you can see right there, the dinosaur kangaroo is featured right on the cover there. So then I decided, let's look at my site, not my site, but boardgameoracle.com, and bring up what are other retail stores selling for right now. And you can see here there are a number of different retail stores that have Codenames Pictures available. The price tag on them is all $20 to $23.95, $24.95, $24.99 or higher. So looking at it right here, if we went to Atomic Empire, press the wrong button again. Go to their store or card house or whatever, you'll see that it's $19.95. Shipping is not included in that, so you're going to be purchasing somewhere around the $25 mark for any of the Codenames games. Yeah, so that is where it is now. And let's talk a little bit about the value of what's in the box. Okay, so let's talk about the value and the gameplay, what I think. I've already boxed everything up. One thing that is kind of nice about this, there isn't an insert or anything, but this is a party game. There are baggies for everything, that everything fits within these plastic bags, and I think that's more than adequate for a party game like this. I don't need a detailed plastic insert or anything to hold these components. This is more than fine. Telescoping box is standard. Everything in here I have no complaints about. There is a lot of gameplay. Everything that, if you are familiar with CG's games, they are all about the gameplay and the game experience. Everything in this box is to give you the highest number of options, the most replayability, and the best game experiences. I cannot say bad things about Codenames. It's actually one of my favorite games. I did work for CGE for 6 years. And even before that, Codenames was one of my favorite games. And through the years, I've played thousands of games of Codenames. And frankly, it's still one of my top ranking games. I think it has immense value for what's in the box. I've never had a group not enjoy Codenames when it's brought out. I've played it with huge groups. I've played it with 4 people. I've played it duet with 2 people. So I think it's really a phenomenal game, and has a place in everyone's collection. That said, I don't like the pictures version nearly as much as the words version. Some people say pictures is easier for kids. I don't know if that's true. Maybe some kids, if their vocabulary isn't high enough to do word association, then that might make sense. They might be able to play with the pictures version. But I inherently think the pictures version is harder. It's but that's just how my brain works. I don't work as well with the pictures as I do with the words. So given that, if I were to put this on a scale, I would put Codenames at a 9 or 10. I'd probably put pictures somewhere in the 7 range. So that's what I think about this game. I do think that everyone should have some sort of version of Codenames in their board game collection, because it is a game that you can bring out with almost anybody and have a good time. So that's what I thought. Thank you for joining in on this episode of Papa Anthony's Used Game Emporium. Please comment down below about your favorite spy or secret agent for your chance to win this copy of the game. And until next time, thanks again.